everyone, Eve Harrow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. I'm recording this show on February 8th, 2021, the 26th day of Shvat, 5781. And I'm really honored to have with me today Silva Zalmanson and her lovely daughter, Anat Zalmanson Kuznetsov. Sorry about my Russian. And this is actually a personal interview for me in many ways, because about 50 years ago as a girl in Los Angeles, the people in Los Angeles, the Jewish community, were very involved in the whole movement to free Soviet Jewry. Los Angeles is not usually known for demonstrations and big things like that, but for some reason, and I don't really know why, the Jewish community was really galvanized in Los Angeles. And even though I was a young girl, I was part of that as well. And for quite a while, many months, if not more, I wore a bracelet that said on it the name Silva Zalmanson. And I was told that she was one of the people at the forefront of the movement within Soviet Jewry, doing everything they can, risking their lives in order to be free, to be able to leave behind the Iron Curtain, to make Aliyah, to go wherever they wanted, to live freely as Jews. When I think about it now, that was really the first thing that I did that was in any way political or open. And I think that had much more of an impact on me than I had given it credit for. And so it's really actually very moving for me to be with Silva today, both of us in Israel. And it's 50 years now since the big events. And wanted to speak a little bit about that, since what was known as the Leningrad trial. She was the only woman who was put on trial for hijacking a plane. Silva, can you tell us a little bit about what led up to that particular event?
Hijacking an empty plane.
Yes, hijacking an empty plane, exactly.
Yeah.
Not like what we've seen in the past years. Nobody was being hurt, nobody was being taken hostage. It was a desperate effort to get to get out of the Soviet Union. Yes, thank you, Anat. That's a very important thing to say, because even though I knew that, in the last 50 years, the hijacking of planes has taken on a more ominous and threatening kind of meaning. So Silva, tell us a little bit about what's going on then. You as a young woman wanting to leave, and what brought you to that point, which when we think about it is a crazy idea. How did you think that you could get away with that?
Yeah.
Now,
Yes, that's right. It was a crazy idea, not realistic one. But before I got twice refused to get a permission to go officially to Israel, and according to others, other story about trying to go to Israel, I understood that it will not happen soon. I will have to, at least to wait many years, and also not was for sure that one day I will get this permission to go to Israel and to live there. So so that's why I agreed to participate to this group, and try to escape from Soviet Union by taking an empty airplane without any passengers. And we had among us former pilot, and then we decided with other people to go and to try, but when we invited when we were telling people about this plan, we told that there is no a lot of chance to succeed. It could be 50% will be arrested and 50% of the chance is to be killed in air if we will succeed to fly. So that was the start approximately.
So I think this
Just
shows, yeah,
just to emphasize, she was refused permission not from the state of Israel. She was refused permission to leave the USSR. The permission was from the USSR, not from
right.
Israel, because you kept saying permission to live in Israel, but that's
Yeah,
not. It sounds
yeah.
like Israel was not giving you permission.
Right. No, Israel was welcoming everyone. But let me ask you, this is clearly a desperate plan.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. It was.
Where did how did you get the desire to want to leave? To leave, I understand, but to come to Israel, because there were millions of Soviet Jews, and very few were the ones who were so active, even willing to risk their lives, which you made so clear, in order to get out of communism, in order to be able to leave the Soviet Union. What spark did you have in you in order to want to do that? Was it something from your home? Was it hearing about maybe the 6-Day War, and Israel was very much in the news? Maybe the most famous, what we call refusenik, the person that the Soviet Union refused permission to leave, is Natan Anatol Sharansky. And his story became very, very well known, and he himself became well known.
But Sharansky's story was 7 years after.
Okay. Was
Yeah.
7 years after?
It was after the Leningrad trial, 7 years after. And he was the one who was quoting my mother on his trial. So it was the other way around. The Leningrad trial gave
him a push,
inspiration for Sharansky and others. So Sharansky,
yeah.
Okay,
really
so I'll cut this part out. I'll cut the Sharansky thing out.
Yeah.
That's no problem. Okay, so what gave you that push to come?
I was born and raised in a Jewish family, a traditional Jewish family, and also, so I was a Jewish girl, but with a Jewish neshama, yes, with a Jewish soul.
A Jewish soul.
Yes, but that's not was maybe it was not enough for to push me or to this desperate action. It's because of anti-Semitic atmosphere. Also, it is because the Soviet regime was very severe regime without no freedom for anything, not for speak, not for demonstrate, not for get out from Russia. In spite of this, that in Constitution it was written that everybody has the right to leave the country. Yeah. But it, of course, it was not only prohibited, prohibited. It was if it was no, on trial it was they said that we are the traitor because we wanted to leave the Soviet Union. Because yes, and it was wide interpretation of this law about the treason, because treason it was it is a harsh criminal and with meaning to damage to all to the territory to this country or to war. No,
To betray the Soviet Union, not just to want
yes,
to leave, but to,
yes,
yeah.
to trade to the territory and to bitachon,
Security.
Security.
security, and no, for if somebody is fired, yes, so
Mhm. Yeah.
yes, so that, yeah, but they their pershonot,
Interpretation.
interpretation was widely interpreted, and even you only say that you want to live in another country or in Israel, so could be put it on the trial for treason, and
Mhm.
even you didn't mean to damage in any
Right.
way.
You just wanted to leave.
But
Right.
yes, I just want to live for some reason. And there were people who were just killed for not Jewish. They were killed for trying to go over the.
Mhm. It's like when I moved from America, I wasn't seen as I betrayed the United States.
Yeah,
I wasn't put on trial for
yeah,
treason. People in the free world are allowed to move from country to country. They're looking for a different life, a
yes,
better
of
life
course.
for whatever reason. But that
Yeah,
wasn't the case. I'm saying this because it's been a long time, and I think the Soviet Union / Russia has worked hard on trying to change their image. And to some degree, it's not the same country as you were. To some degree, it still is, I think, in many ways from people that I speak to. But I think a lot of the people living today don't realize how terrible it was under communism, how few freedoms you had, how Jews were followed from place to place, and you couldn't meet, and you couldn't read Hebrew, and you couldn't learn anything Jewish, and how really they were trying to stamp that out, and how brave you all were to stand up against what was a superpower at the time, a country that people in the United States were frightened of, let alone those of you living there. People on the other side of the world. I remember people were building missile silos in their basements in case the Soviets attacked, the Cold War. So this was a very powerful regime would do anything cruel, awful things. And here you are, a group of Jews who essentially stand up to the evil empire. And that is that's an extraordinary thing. And I really want to emphasize that most of us would not have, we would just kind of lay low and hope for the best. Most of us would not have the grit to do what you did as a young woman. You probably, I wonder, sometimes think, oh my God, did I really do that? Now
I,
that you're older.
yeah, I thought that everything was done all right, and we were happy because we did it in a right time, in a right place. So
Yeah.
maybe it was your father told that if it would, if we would do it a couple of years ago, so we will be just arrested and killed and in silence.
Yeah.
So nobody would even feel it.
Mm-hmm.
In the West. So it was another case, but it wouldn't be so successful in mining that it grow up in a movement
Yeah.
against the Soviet regime for free immigration, and it was a huge, uh,
Huge.
yeah,
Yes, there are many historians who say now that the
yeah,
movement to free Soviet Jewry was possibly the biggest catalyst to the coming down of the Berlin Wall, to the really breaking apart of the Soviet Union, and the amendments that were passed in the United
yeah,
States, Jackson Vanik, and other things around the little noise that you made turned out to be a lot of noise, and even brought down the Soviet Union much bigger possibly than you even anticipated. So the hijacking failed. Spoiler alert for those of you who didn't know.
Jewish hijacking.
Uh,
We
and
love
you end up on trial
We,
Um,
yeah. Mhm.
how are you? How are you feeling during that time period?
How do you feel
On trial.
On trial.
on trial? You
No
know what I want
on.
to say? It was the first time I was told here that it was the first time when political prisoners didn't ask for mercy, for didn't told that they change mind. We all of us told that we want to go to Israel, and we just wanted to go to Israel to live there, to be with our people. That's what no main thing that all of us were standing on
On our ground.
on
You didn't
a,
break. You didn't
No.
break,
yes,
even with all the
Mm.
threats against you.
yes.
So, Anat, you made a film. We're embedding the trailer. I don't know what point of this show my listeners will be seeing the trailer. You made an incredible film about your mother's story. Can you tell
My
us a
mother and
little,
my father.
your mother and your father's story? Can you tell us a little bit about your feelings going? I mean, your mother's in horrible prison, and you go with her, you see how she lived. Did you really fully understand what your parents had gone through up until that time?
No, I have not. I grew up in the sense of I only heard about how much of the heroes, the teachers and people in the street kept saying your parents are heroes, and it was like for me, like my parents are superheroes, and it was everything was in a very optimistic feeling of victory, of
Mm-hmm.
strong people, um, which I think is very different from what you expect. And only when I started working on the film, which was in a later point in my life, in my 30s, that I started to understand a little bit of what they've been through. Because I seriously, I was very naive about it. I couldn't imagine that the prison terms was that bad. When I thought of them in prison, I kind of imagined like American prison, like you see in movies, that
Yeah.
is also bad, but it's not as bad as as the Soviet Union, that had no normal conditions,
Yeah.
for anyone, not person, not animal, not anything.
Mm-hmm. So that was good that you've made. I mean, the film changed you, changed them,
Um,
changed some of the
yeah, I mean,
perceptions.
yeah, it brought us closer. And I feel like it was one of my life's mission to make this film.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started working on it, even though there were many difficulties, at least at first, in the first 2, 3 years, it seemed like it would be impossible to have this film made at all. But I kept on feeling that
Yeah,
something was guiding me to,
to do that.
yeah.
And Silva, when you were in prison, did you know what was going on outside, all the noise that was being made in order to commute your sentences, and let you be free?
Uh, when during the investigation we didn't have newspapers, didn't we couldn't meet lawyers, so we didn't know what is going on in the streets and
Outside.
in a free world. But after the trial, I met my father and my third brother, uh, and they told me that Golda Meir, Prime Minister at that
Of
time,
Israel.
yes, she quoted my words on the Sarsala
On
Neshamim
the trial.
on the
Right,
trial.
during the trial,
Mhm.
right.
And he said me, said in a way that, that the guards wouldn't understand, that there is a protest demonstration, and Edward will not be killed, and I will not, Edward, Anat's father,
Right.
and I will not spend 10 years. I've got 10 years
Hmm.
in prison, so I will be released before. And many people already received visa, permission to go to
Permission to leave the
to
USSR.
live
Permission to leave.
USSR.
Right.
Yeah. So I got some optimistic injection that
Hmm.
yes, there is a hope.
Right. Right. Otherwise, I can imagine being in such a terrible place, thinking
Yeah.
about all these years would have been almost
Yeah.
impossible to live with.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when you are when you are going to this such a difficult situation like prison or prison camp, so you learn how to overcome. It's like a harsh way to learn very important things for your personality.
Well, or if you don't, then you don't survive. But you're sitting here and speaking to me today, so clearly
Yeah.
you were one of those people who was able to find some kind of strength of character, faith, whatever it was that took you through there. So when do you come?
Can I share with you? I'll
Please.
share a screen with you 1 second, which I
Terrific.
think will be useful for. Oh, I need you to make me co-host or something, or
What do you need me to do?
I need you to make me co-host or give me permission to share a screen. If you press the participant,
Multiple participants, I did. You there?
and then you press it, and then you go on the right side, you see my name. Then you press on more.
I don't see your name. I just,
When you press on participants,
yeah.
there is a small window opening on the right side.
Okay, Anat.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you go through on
More,
the
make
cloud.
host. I got it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Good.
now you're going to be the
That's
host
it.
altogether?
No, just 1 second.
Okay,
So,
here we go.
You see this? So the Leningrad trial was December 1970.
Yeah.
You can see this is Jewish immigration from the from the Soviet Union, from the birth of Israel until the
25,000.
yeah. You see, this is right after the trial, the
1971 to 1980. There's a
yeah,
big bump.
in January 1971, which
Yeah.
is 1 month after the trial. So
Right.
you can see the effect of the Leningrad trial.
Almost 250,000. Yeah. 10 times as many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 times as many in years than what we had before in the 20s before that.
So obviously that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see it in numbers, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Yeah, no, the fact that the Leningrad trial and what Silva does has such a tremendous impact is, I think, beyond any doubt. I don't think there's anybody who's going to argue with that conclusion that this group of people changed everything and changed Israel in so many ways, because everyone talks about the startup nation and high tech and all of that. And if you look at the graph, it's clear that when the Jews of the former Soviet Union comes in, that's when everything takes a boost here. Come in educated, come in talented. We even have world-class philharmonics in places like Beersheba, music, math, science. It's hard to, if not impossible, to imagine Israel today without the contribution of the Jews of the Soviet Union and the people who came in. It's really been something. I mean, it's also caused, some other issues. Not everyone who came in was halachically Jewish. And so there's issues that still have to be solved. And I wish that somebody would solve them already. It's been a long time. but that's another discussion. But definitely changed the face of this country in so many ways, and you can look back on that. And you yourself, let's to get into your talent, because how I actually refound you was through your art. That I somehow got something about an amazing artist, and I see your name, which is not something I would have had in conjunction. So that I wonder if it's the same Silva Zomanson.
The one and only.
The one and only. And then I went and looked, and I have to say, I was just blown away by your talent.
Yeah.
When were you such a talented painter already back in your childhood? Did you learn to paint in the Soviet Union, or is this something that was part of your Israeli part of your life?
There are two things that I learned in Israel. It's to drive a car and to paint. And I hope that all of them are successful.
Yes, let's not discuss Israeli drivers. Let's talk about your paintings instead. Much better. So it was just, how did that happen? Because this isn't just like some scribblings. This is like museum level. Oh my goodness, I think I'm looking at a photograph, and it's not a photograph, it's a painting. So when did that happen?
Just my good friend, my good friend of mine.
A good friend of mine.
A good friend of mine once told me that he will ask from God maybe in the next life to be an actor, and I said that I would like to be a painter. And he was surprised why I want to be a painter, because I didn't paint serious. And he said, so if you want to be, so maybe you can be, and you have to try. And the art is there is a thing that you own to yourself. And he was very insist me to go to the shop and to buy brushes and colors. I felt myself confused, because I thought that it will be funny. He will laugh at me or something like this, and I said that it's for my little girl. And then after I went to the good painters, and one of them, the last one was Elena Golan, a good painter, and I from her how perspective and
Your Zoom is frozen.
how to paint. And then after, when I felt that after 3 or something years, I felt that I have to be alone with my painting, and to feel myself like I am a god. So I have to divide light from choshek, darkness, and then after to build something, and then after so on. So when so I love, I feel it's my field to make a portraits. I feel some soul is activated, like after activated in a photo uh, after I finish. Also, I like animals, because I feel that it's not just for me, for something, something with good taste. They have a soul also. Everybody has a personality, even so. There's something,
You like living things, things that are alive.
Yes, but
yes.
yes. Also, it's just that I when I paint, so I get when I go when I am going into the theme, so it's I feel do something that they continue,
Mm-hmm.
and now I have a rest from this because everything is like on quarantine,
כמו שאת אומרת, רק
quarantine.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Quarantine. Ah, because of COVID. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's it's I think that involves fluent no no
אני לא מבינה מה את רוצה להגיד פשוט,
כן,
אז אני לא
no,
יכולה
I will say in Hebrew because
Okay.
אני מרגישה שהכל משפיע, הכל צריך להיות בקשר עם האנשים, כמו שהאומנים כן צריכים את האנשים,
Mm-hmm.
כדי להרגיש איכות, שאם אתם אוהבים מה שאתה יצרת, אז יש כאילו הבנה וקשר בין אנשים. וזה לא כמו שדברים אחרים מפרידים בין אנשים, כמו הפוליטיקה או דברים, כן? אבל האומנות זה מאחד את האנשים, וזה נהדר.
So to paraphrase what Silva said, and this is why the quarantine is hard, she feels that art connects people as opposed to other things like politics and who knows what that cause people to drift apart. Art connects people, and that's what's hard now with not being able to be with people and near people. That it's been a difficult time. Yes, more or less, Anat? Yeah. So you grew up, Anat, with a mother who's also an artist. Yes, that's from your earliest memories. Some of them.
Well, she started painting when I was about 12-year-old.
Okay.
So not my whole childhood.
Not your little childhood. Yeah. But a good part.
Can I add it?
Please.
Because, Anat didn't learn painting, but she still is so good and so profounding feeling. So every painting, my painting, I did over her instructions, and I finished when she said it's finished. Or just.
So she's the silent partner in the back behind every painting. Maybe an inspiration.
The art in her soul, and very true. Very exactly she feels what I want to do, and she helps me a lot. Yeah.
Wow. And she has her own talents, like with the film, with the wedding. Everyone has their own palette, if you will, and their own canvas in which to express themselves. And so the two of you are clearly talented.
I'm a storyteller, not a painter. Yeah.
Yes. Well, but so you think that, when did you come to Israel, Silva? When did you finally get out?
In 1974, in December 10th.
Wasn't it September?
September.
Yeah, you said December.
September 10th. Yeah, that's probably a date that you don't forget.
I just confused because many languages.
Right.
Understand to speak. No, but Hebrew, it's my second language. Yeah, I speak Russian, of course. And English, I just know.
You're doing great.
To some extent, but but not just I miss many interviews to improve my English.
So despite the quarantine and COVID and people not being able to come, how can someone see your work if they would like to in these days of everything on internet? Where can they go and even buy something? I don't know if you're selling online, if that's a possibility.
Yeah, no, another.
Well,
Not?
her art is on display on the website that you will
That's, yes,
now.
it's embedded in the text of the
Yeah,
show.
so people can purchase the painting through the
Mm-hmm.
website. There is also an option to get a print via Fine Art America,
Mm-hmm.
but the original is always better.
Of course, the original anything is always better.
Yeah. And you know, in a art magazine in Israel, a critic,
Studio.
the art magazine is titled Studio. A painting critic said about my mother. He said that there is a Rembrandt in Israel, and her name is Silva Zion. Yeah,
That is quite high praise.
yeah,
It's really something.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I hope that my listeners in general are getting the picture of a very unique person who very strong, but also very soft, because to paint and to bring out what you bring out is a very gentle side as well. And I'm very proud to have worn your bracelet and very proud that to be part of the same nation that you are a part of. I do not know if I could have gone through what you went through, and you have totally enriched the fabric of Israel, the beauty, you add to the beauty as well. And of course, your daughter is doing her part in the whole tremendous mosaic that is this crazy country that we live in, with people from everywhere. But you didn't just do something for the Jewish people, you changed the world to a great degree. That's something very few people can say. I'm not, you can always change the world in a violent way. You can always drop a bomb or do something terrible or cause a 9/11. That's usually the people that change the world. But you did it with a strength of character and with faith and with bravery that is just very, very difficult to find words for. And you changed so much for so many people in a very unassuming and quiet way. So I'm very honored, really, that to have had this opportunity to talk with you today. For my listeners to hear just a little bit about you. Obviously, the story is very big, guys. You're going to have to do some homework here. Just Google the lady, about the trial and about leaving and about all those years. And of course, watch the film that Anat made out of love for her parents and the need to really put their story out there so that other people could begin maybe to perhaps kind of understand something. And of course, none of us can ever really do that. So I want to wish you, first of all, health and long life and many years of creativity. I wonder what's in your fingers right now that has yet to be painted that will just strike someone as, oh, that is exactly what I'm feeling. And to be able to express that for so many of us. So really, ad 120 shana, as they say, here in Israel with your family. And just thank you, really. It's just thank you. That's really all that I can say.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. Eve Harrow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network, with Silva and Anat and their story. Please follow up on it. Can't do it all in just the few minutes that we have. Just want to give you a glimpse into some of the really magnificent people that I am privileged to meet and to speak to here. And wow, just wow. So take care, everyone, wherever you are. I hope that you're well and healthy and that you'll get out of this mess sooner rather than later. Thanks again to Tabitha and to Ben. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.